Item 672. Raised pavement markers. 1. Description. Furnish and install raised pavement markers, RPMS. 2. Materials. 2.1 Markers. Furnish RPMS in accordance with the following department material specifications. Reflectorized pavement markers. DMS 4200, pavement markers, reflectorized, types IA, IC, IR, 2AA, and 2CR. Traffic buttons. DMS 4300, traffic buttons, types IA, IC, IR, 2AA, 2CR, W, Y, and B round or oval unless otherwise specified on the plans. Plowable reflectorized pavement markers. DMS 4210, snow plowable pavement markers, types IA, IC, IR, 2AA, and 2CR. The following are descriptions for each type of RPM. Type 1A. The approach face must retroreflect amber light. The body, other than the retroreflective face, must be yellow. Type 1C. The approach face must retroreflect white light. The body, other than the retroreflective face, must be white or silver white. Type 1R. The trailing face must retroreflect red light. The body, other than the retroreflective face, must be white or silver white, except for IR plowable markers which may be black. Type 1IAA. The two retroreflective faces, approach and trailing, must retroreflect amber light. The body, other than the retroreflective faces, must be yellow. Type 1ICR contain two retroreflective faces with an approach face that must retroreflect white light and a trailing face that must retroreflect red light. The body, other than the retroreflective faces, must be white or silver white. Type W must have a white body and no reflective faces. Type Y must have a yellow body and no reflective faces. Type B must have a black body and no reflective faces. 2.2 Adhesives. Furnish adhesives that conform to the following requirements. DMS 6100, epoxies and adhesives, Type 1I traffic marker adhesives. DMS 6130, bituminous adhesive for pavement markers. The contractor may propose alternate adhesive materials for consideration and approval. 2.3 Sampling. The engineer will sample in accordance with Text 729I. 3. Construction. Remove existing RPMS in accordance with Item 677, eliminating existing pavement markings and markers, except for measurement and payment. Furnish RPMS for each class from the same manufacturer. Prepare all surfaces in accordance with Item 678, pavement surface preparation for markings, when shown on the plans. Ensure the bond surfaces are free of dirt, curing compound, grease, oil, moisture, loose or unsound pavement markings, and any other material that would adversely affect the adhesive bond. Establish pavement marking guides to mark the lateral location of RPMS as shown on the plans and as directed. Do not make permanent marks on the roadway for the guides. Place RPMS in proper alignment with the guides. Acceptable placement deviations are shown on the plans. Remove RPMS placed out of alignment or sequence, as shown on the plans or stated in the specification, at contractor's expense, in accordance with Item 677, eliminating existing pavement markings and markers, except for measurement and payment. Use the following adhesive materials for placement of reflectorized pavement markers, and traffic buttons unless otherwise shown on the plans. Standard or flexible bituminous adhesive for applications on bituminous pavements, and epoxy adhesive or flexible bituminous adhesive for applications on hydraulic cement concrete pavements. Use epoxy adhesive for plowable reflectorized pavement markers. Apply enough adhesives to ensure that 100% of the bonding area of RPMS is in contact with the adhesive, and ensure that RPMS, except for plowable markers, are seated on a continuous layer of adhesive and not in contact with the pavement surface. Apply adhesives in accordance with manufacturer's recommendations unless otherwise required by this article. Apply bituminous adhesive only when pavement temperature and RPM temperature are 40 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. Do not heat bituminous adhesive above 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Machine agitate bituminous adhesive continuously before application to ensure even heat distribution. Machine mix epoxy adhesive. Apply epoxy adhesive only when pavement temperature is 50 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. Furnish RPMs free of rust, scale, dirt, oil, grease, moisture, and contaminants that might adversely affect the adhesive bond. Place RPMs immediately after the adhesive is applied and ensure proper bonding. Do not use adhesives or any other material that impairs the functional retroreflectivity of the RPMs. Provide a 30-day performance period that begins the day following written acceptance for each separate location. The date of written acceptance will be the last calendar day of each month for the RPMs installed that month for the completed separate project locations. This written acceptance does not constitute final acceptance. Replace all missing, broken or non-reflective RPMs. Visual evaluations will be used for these determinations. Upon request, the engineer will allow a contractor representative to accompany the engineer on these evaluations. The engineer may exclude RPMs from the replacement provisions of the performance, provided the engineer determines the failure is a result of causes other than defective material or inadequate installation procedures. Examples of outside causes are extreme wear at intersections, damage by snow or ice removal, and pavement failure. Replace all missing or non-reflective RPMs identified during the performance period within 30 days after notification. The end of the performance period does not relieve the contractor from the performance deficiencies requiring corrective action identified during the performance period. For measurement. This item will be measured by each RPM. This is a plan's quantity measurement item. The quantity to be paid is the quantity shown in the proposal, unless modified by Article 9.2, Plan's quantity measurement. Additional measurements or calculations will be made if adjustments are required. 5. Payment. The work performed and materials furnished in accordance with this item and measured as provided under measurement will be paid for at the unit price bid for reflectorized pavement marker, traffic button, or plowable reflectorized pavement marker of the type specified. This price is full compensation for removing existing markers, furnishing and installing RPMs, and materials, equipment, labor, tools, and incidentals. No additional payment will be made for replacement of RPMs failing to meet the performance requirements.